Well, it's a pretty mild 24 degrees Celsius in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maokpe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, I don't know whether to call it modest or whatever. Despite all of the heavy rain yesterday in Lagos, or at least some parts of Lagos, it's 32 degrees according to information available. Good morning and welcome. I'm Ayo Makinde. I wonder what it is in Maiduguri, Borno State, where you're taking us this morning, Maokwe.
Well, I can tell you very confidently that it is quite warm, 33 degrees Celsius, and it's set to get hotter to about 41 degrees much later in the day. So I think Abuja is really having it quite cool this morning. But don't let it fool you, because Abuja is also going to get a bit warm, but not as warm as Maiduguri, particularly the state capital of Borno State. And that's the skyline we're going to be showing you this morning, if we're not seeing it already. Yes, it's the city center, a new piece of infrastructure, quite a sight for sore eyes. It's a bit of artwork in the middle of it, something pretty to look at in the middle. So I want to believe that people are driving though, they should be concentrating on the road, not on the artwork. But hey, if you have not seen this, we're bringing you the view from the top. This is what it looks like above that pretty piece of infrastructure.
Borno State, that is it, just in case you forgot. This is the center of the city of Maiduguri in Borno State. Of course, that's the capital and largest city in Borno State. Many people may not know that, it was a city seriously bedeviled with insecurity at the time. And many should also be reminded that at some point, the current Vice President, Kashim Shettima, was governor in that state between 2011 and 2019. And unfortunately, the insecurity, spate of insecurity at the time, has not kept away this beauty that we are seeing. So please take it all in, enjoy it. A beautiful piece of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
It does appear that we're saying that there is that lovely flow of movement, within Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. Not so, it would seem, for a few individuals who, seem to have to take permission from a state governor or government before they can visit any state. And so there is a brouhaha of some sort brewing, with the candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Mr. Peter Obi, who has now called out the governor of Benue State, Governor Hyacinth Alia, over his inability to be able to visit the state. About 2 days ago or so, a statement came out from the governor of Benue State, Governor Hyacinth Alia, saying that he cannot guarantee the freedom or the movement or the safety of anyone who visits the state without his knowledge. And I'm sure quite a number of people might have been curious. If you saw that statement alone, how many people actually have to take permission before you go and see, before you visit a state? Clearly, those kinds of statements are usually targeted or, issued for political reasons. It turns out that statement, the person who was being spoken to got the message immediately, and according to him, the governor of, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Mr. Peter Obi, said that statement was targeted at him, and he quickly explained why, that he had tried to reach the governor severally without, making any headway, that he wished to visit not just Benue State, but also visit Plateau State as well. According to him, the governor of Plateau State already said, no, that's not a problem. We're happy to have you. You can visit wherever it is you want to visit in the state, and his security will be guaranteed. However, he said he was unsuccessful in his attempt to reach the governor of Benue State. Much later, he said he tried to reach the ADC, the aide-de-camp of the governor, who is supposed to be the closest person to the governor. I mean, the aide-de-camp follows the governor everywhere he goes. And, you know, he reached the ADC. The ADC acknowledged his message and said he would try to reach his principal. And then 3 days after, the ADC says he has been unsuccessful in reaching his principal. Mr. Peter Obi said he was left wondering how an ADC was unable to reach a principal whom he's supposed to work with every day. Anyways, he said he decided to proceed with his visit nonetheless because, according to him, speaking to the governor or just telling him about his visit was courtesy. But since that wasn't working out, he decided to proceed on his journey anyway. And then when he got to Akwanga, he said his security detail noticed that there was a press statement saying that if anyone decided to visit Benue, you know, without letting them know or without them being in the know, they cannot guarantee the safety. And he knew immediately that that message was for him. And I think that the governor of Benue State needs to be a little more clear. Is he prohibiting the because this is his side out there. This is the side of the presidential candidate out there who says this statement he believes very strongly, you know, was targeted at his visit to Benue State. There needs to be a little more clarity. So the governor of Benue State, you know, needs to be a little more clear. Was he trying to prohibit the free movement of the candidate of the Labour Party, which is guaranteed under our constitution? That's a key question. Ayo, what do you make of this? It's been quite a while we saw this kind of politicking. Should we play politics with things like this?
There is no gainsaying it, Malcolm. This is sheer politics. But I think, you know, we should quickly draw the line between where politics should stop and where governance should take off. That statement may be surreptitiously targeted at one individual, and I'm going to try to avoid mentioning names. What is important here is that anyone else can pick up that statement, even if the person is an investor, pick up that statement and say, well, if this could happen to someone that is that prominent, and I'm just going to Benue State, which they said was the food basket of Nigeria, and is now, you know, a place that you have to go in to take permission, so to speak, then there is a big problem somewhere. So I would, as you said, Mark, it's the side of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party for now. Would love very much to hear from the governor, the government of Benue State. One thing that we should also identify, Mark, is that in that statement, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party was endearing in his statements. He actually referred to the governor as my friend and younger brother. So there is some endearment there. Now, whether or not it's the same on both sides, I guess we'll wait to see. And there could be other information available to the governor that we are not aware of, for which reason he would make such a statement, a bold statement, and which would generate the kind of reaction that it is generating. For me, the more important thing remains the same, Markway: communication. Unless we communicate the way we should, we will always get development wrong. I'm going to say that again. Unless we communicate the way we should, we will always get development wrong. From the crown of your head to the sole of your feet is a system of communication. One arm must talk to the other. The brain has a function of making sure that the communication system within the body flows right. Just imagine you send a signal to your hand and your leg kicks in. This is the kind of thing that we should understand about the whole process of communication. Putting out a statement is not enough. What does that statement say, connote? What does that statement interpret to, denote? What does it mean to someone else who is reading it? You have something in mind and someone else is interpreting it in any other way. Let us delineate politics from governance. Anyone picks up that statement, it is directed at everyone. And so if the governor is saying anyone who visits Benue State must visit with my permission, it means that even the grass seller, the shoemaker, the tanner, the tanner must take permission from the governor. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it, Marco, but that's my take on that issue.
Well, Ayo, you can say that again. There's nothing to get wrong. It's just a statement that is out there, and of course, it's going to hit people differently. What we must also remind Governor Alia, who is still a Reverend Father the last time I checked, and, you know, all of us are children of God, but some people are supposed to be high up on the pedestal, is that this cannot be the way to play politics. They say if someone is going to visit your state without your knowledge, you cannot guarantee their safety. Even if their safety were in jeopardy, as the chief security officer of the state, you have a duty to make sure that they are safe within your state. Absolutely. But that said, one of the areas where statements will no longer do is in the Plateau State, where we're now seeing another killing, another round of murder. This is almost like a massacre, because we understand about 51 people have now lost their lives in this latest attack in ZK community. This is happening in another local government area. 2 weeks ago, it was in Bokos. This time around, we understand it's in Bassa local government area. What exactly is happening? Clearly, statements will not do, but this is how our reporter who was on the ground in Plateau State captured this latest round of killing. After this report, we will take a break and we'll come back to discuss it. Please stay with us.
"54 persons, mostly women and children, have been given a mass burial at ZK community following the unprovoked Monday morning attacks by suspected herdsmen. It took the search and rescue team several hours combing the community to recover the bodies, after which a mass burial was conducted before some of the mutilated bodies decomposed.
Head to head, toes to toes, ashes to ashes, ashes to ashes.
Reports from the community indicate that the attackers invaded the village while a vigilante group alongside some security personnel were on patrol to another village, and it was the sporadic shooting from the burnt houses that attracted the team, which eventually engaged the invaders but could not salvage the situation that led to the death of some residents.
They started shooting, they burnt houses, they macheted people, and as I speak, we have recovered about 51 dead bodies on ground. And then we are still searching. I will not say that is the end, but we are still searching on other corpses around the bushes. And that is the situation of what happened.
A lawmaker in the Plateau State House of Assembly and the national president, Irigwe Women's Wing, expressed disappointment that all the peace meetings held did not yield positive result.
We have passed several motions. We have called on the state government to these ugly incidents. We have profound solutions. We have asked that these settler campuses of security should be opened in border states, you know, so that they will be able to be proactive whenever there's an incident like this. When there are border security across state levels, they can be able to handle situations like this.
They have been coming and be killing every time. We are tired of this killing. We are tired of this killing. Enough is enough. Our children are dying. Our mates are dying. Our husbands are dying. Our crops have been raised down by this Fulani hitman. So we are tired. Enough is enough.
The attacks on ZK community are coming less than 2 weeks after some communities in Bokos local government area were attacked. over 50 persons killed, several houses burned, and properties looted.
Welcome back. Well, we're looking at the latest killings on the Plateau. We're being joined now by Mr. Issa Sanusi, who is the country director, Amnesty International, and also Mr. Obi Okidevie, who is the CEO of August I Limited and also a security expert. We have to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on Sunrise Elite this morning.
Thank you, Margaret, for having us today.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Well, this is the latest in a line of, will I say, incessant attacks on the Plateau. Amnesty International, you have issued a statement condemning the latest killings, but also saying that the inexcusable security lapses that enabled these horrific attacks 2 weeks after the killing of 52 people must be investigated. How optimistic are you that this particular statement of yours, this particular, let's say, desire of yours will come to fruition?
Well, we always do this whenever there are this kind of conflicts or attacks. We always insisted that the beginning of discovering the truth, reconciliation, justice begins with a thorough, independent, impartial, resourceful investigation. There is no way you can use assumptions, you can use side talks to arrive at what caused these attacks, who are behind them, who is sponsoring them, where are they getting these massive weapons from, without an investigation. And we've always believed that the government of Nigeria has enormous resources, it has enormous powers. So what is stopping them from investigating and telling us what happened? They have the power, they have to do it. And there is no way people will be killed repeatedly and no one has clue what is happening. Whatever everyone will tell you is just speculation. People will tell you it's about land, it's about ethnicity, it's about religion. But only a thorough, impartial, resourceful investigation can establish this. And it is the duty of the government to make this clarity known to the people, because not doing that is building up a lot of grievances that will pile one day and consume all of us, because people are just building their own assumptions and conspiracy theories going around, and people believe in them. Therefore, the government is repeatedly failing us. They are failing us to tell us exactly what is going on.
Mm. Well, Mr. Oyame, I want to ask you, because 2 weeks ago we saw this same kind of attacks in Bokos local government area. We saw the NSA visit afterwards. We saw even the chief of army staff, even the IG of police sent a very strong panel, strong representation to also, see what had happened in the place. There were talks of the political solution from what we gathered. And also security people were supposed to be on the ground. So there were also some measures put in place to prevent a recurrence. Yet, a few days after, it's less than 2 weeks after the attacks on Bokos, and we understand that it was seen there was a diversionary tactic, which happened in this instance, which lured the security men away before this particular act took place. What do you think is the missing link, in preventing this sort of attacks, where we've seen another 50 plus people being murdered in such a way?
Okay, thank you very much, Mope. And I can see the creases on your face that this is a very horrendous situation. And I would like to say that if we talk about investigation, we are talking about 25, 30 years of reoccurrences. There is no government that will say that it has not had the capacity to have a fruitful investigation with a closure of who were the perpetrators and where did they emanate from, where did they get their weaponry from, and what penalties have been accrued to those that have been arrested. Now, let me take you to the value of a life. One citizen of a country is worth the life of all its military. One citizen of a country, because that is what you enjoy in your territorial integrity. So if I want to comment on this, I'll give an opening remark that we tailor towards the need for culpability of every security agency head and government institution head. Government institution head must involve the judiciary that is supposed to implement penalties to those that have been arrested so far with evidence of participation. And we'll also look at the other agencies that are supposed to cascade down the active intelligence that can be gathered. Then we'll look at the need for intervention forces to actually deter the opportunities to take life from the villages.
You know, because I'm just thinking about it. You first and foremost, you see such an attack, such a brazen attack happen, and then we see all of these very important people visit, whose job it is to secure the country, to reassure the people that, oh, don't worry, this kind of thing will not happen again. Under a watch, we'll make sure that everything is kept under control. And then shortly after, another community witnesses exactly the same thing. And it is less than 2 weeks after that, the first attack we're talking about, less than 2 weeks. So you have to ask, what exactly is the temerity? What fuels the temerity that these marauders, what fuels the audacity? I mean, is it that they're not afraid of security agencies? Is it that they know that there will be no consequence? What exactly is it, from your own reading, will fuel this sort of? And we don't know whether it's the same group of people that carried out the attacks on Bokos that also carried out the ones in Bassa. But we should imagine that if there had been sufficient work done in the instance in Bokos, some people would get the message and not want to try out what they have done again in Bassa. What do you think has caused this?
You see, every day we keep looking for reasons. But the reasons are obvious. Later, some people will tell you it's a speculation theory. Some other people will tell you that you are trying to increase the insecurity body language of the country. Now, if certain group of people get into a place, kill and burn and maim and rape and walk out of that place, it is already a slap on the face of the institutions that are supposed to protect such areas. Now, when there is no reprisal from the security agencies, tracing them back to their hideouts, even if they are attacked by any strategy that created a surprise, tracing them back to their hideouts and telling them the language that they should understand, that this is Nigerian territorial integrity. I remember when I was in the military, I remember commanders that I had, that when they say we should move, we move in unison. Both Muslim and Christian soldiers, both Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, once you are donning the uniform, we move together and we die and win together. Now, for Nigeria currently, what we have seen is just a military institution, a police institution, a DSS institution that are only for ceremonial comments, parades, and media activity. The capture of states of insecurity in Nigeria can be wielded by the high and mighty. There are people in places in Nigeria that can deter the judiciary, that can handicap the activities of security agencies, and we know them. And so many people, the last man, Malami, that left, said he has a list of persons and institutions that sponsor terrorism in Nigeria. And he handed over to another person in the judiciary without any action taken on those persons and institutions. And we continue to die.
Well, you've spoken about a Yeah, the fact that we have not been able to bring the full weight of the state on these marauders. And let me come to you, because in the wake of these attacks, yes, we always hear, statements issued by the federal government on these kinds of attacks. But this particular statement by the president, seemed to, looking for the right word now, seemed to be a bit different. He wasn't just commiserating with the people of Plateau State. He was giving marching orders to the military to rout those people, to be on the offensive. So it seemed that that struck me, because I asked myself, is it that they had to wait for a command to be given for them to be on the offensive? Or was this a strategy to just say, well, our work right now is just going to be to protect the people? Clearly, that is failing. Protection doesn't seem to be enough, because if you're losing 100 people in a space of 2 weeks, there are big questions there. But in this statement, asking the military to go after these people, do you think that we should see better results?
Well, we will not see any better results. There is nothing that is going to change. And let me make something very clear. I read the statement by the president, and he mentioned something very important that we have to be talking about: the responsibility of the state governments. As Nigerians, we tend to look up to the federal government whenever we have problems. But the issue is, if you go to this community that was attacked, there is no road, no water. And we know that the military is currently operating or carrying out security operations in at least probably 30 states or something like that. Therefore, for years, over 10 years now, they have been overstretched. They are human beings. And to tell you that, all these failings and the instructions given by the president will not change anything, because the military is overstretched. The security issues we are having in Nigeria are too much and too many, and they cannot be able to cope with them. And another issue is that we have to ask ourselves, what are the state governments doing? For example, when you ask the military to move into a community where there is an attack, and there is no road leading to that place, are they not human beings? So in my experience, I said so many times, in the course of our research missions, we came across military personnel trying to reach remote communities. They could not, because there is no road. The local governments are not functioning. Where are their funds going to? Even this community, ZK, doesn't have a road. It doesn't have water. So if you allow the military to come in and intervene, how are they going to come in? So we have to look at these issues more critically.
There's a lack of government presence in those places.
Completely. And if you look at, for example, in December 2023, when a community in Kaduna State was attacked by a military, drone, where 100 people attending a religious event were killed, we discovered that there is no road leading to that community. They don't have a school. They don't have water. And that is the story if you go to Zamfara, if you go to Sokoto, if you go to Katsina. So where are the allocations given to the local governments going to? How can the military be able to carry out their responsibilities when they could not even get a road to arrive at the right time to intervene? I'm not giving excuses for anybody, and I'm not holding brief for them.
But all of the matters are related.
Yes, they are related. Poverty, injustice, isolation. These rural communities have been completely abandoned. They are already impoverished to the extent that they are vulnerable to so many things. Climate change, that is why people can just come and kill them and go away. So we have to start thinking, we have to be asking the governors, what are they doing? Why are local governments not functioning? Is this how we have been living in the past? No.
Only recently, just today, on the front pages of the Daily, because I think a few days ago, we heard the governors warning local government chairmen not to open an account with the CBN because of this autonomy, business that has been going on for a while now. It does appear that there is a stalemate of such. As a matter of fact, I think one of the dailies this morning, was saying that, is the local government association calling out the Attorney General of the Federation over local government autonomy. And all of this matters because what exactly is a government? What exactly is a state about if it's not the security of lives and property and the welfare of the people? So if their welfare was already in jeopardy, it clearly their security was already in, and this is all of us, isn't it?
And that is what we have been talking about. For us to address these problems that we are facing in Plateau, in Benue, in Sokoto, in Zamfara, we have to look at them from a broader perspective. We know that our security agencies, they have their own lapses, they have their own problems, they violate human rights sometimes, and we know that they are not resourceful enough as well. And we know that Nigerian government does not care about accountability for lives because these people are ordinary people living in villages. They don't have very big surnames that will ring bells. Therefore, no one cares about them. We know that these are factors. But we also have to look at these things from a broader perspective. Whenever there are these attacks and we go to these villages to do investigation, we end up coming face to face with absolute poverty, with impoverishment, with isolation, with complete abandonment. You will think that these people, there is no governance at all. You will think that there is no sovereign authority within the spaces where they are living. No water, no schools, no hospital, people just living in absolute poverty. So these are the issues. If we want to address these issues, we have to start looking at them from a broader perspective. But as I have said at the beginning of our conversation, we have to start with telling the truth. And there is no way you can get the truth without a thorough, effective, authoritative, resourceful, impartial investigation. That is what will tell people that, okay, these people that attack Zike village in Basa local government, they come from so-so place, this is their identity, this is their ages, the weapons they are using, these are where they got them from, this is where they were registered, they came in because of this, because of that, this is what they have said. And by doing that, you are already resolving a very big grievance that may lead to reprisal. But we don't do that. And that is why Amnesty International is always insisting that the Nigerian government is completely not concerned about resolving these problems, because the simplest thing that they should have been doing is doing this investigation, telling people the truth. I think the truth will go a long way in addressing the bigger issues around, because these killings are building up grievances. Grievances are building up every day. It happened in Boko's local government. It happened in Basa. It is happening in Benue. It is happening in Zamfara. It is happening in Lakura. Are killing people in Kebbi State almost every day. And we are sitting down in Abuja, in Lagos, and other places. We are thinking that these things are far away from us. But whenever they happen, the young people in these communities, in these villages, rush for safety into the urban areas and the cities. And there are no opportunities for them. And that's why we are dealing also with urban crimes, city crimes. So many things are coming together. And I hope that this will be an opportunity for the government to do the right thing. Make sure there is accountability, unveil the identities of these killers. Who are they? What is their aim? Make sure that those kind of conspiracy theories going around are completely demolished with facts. And I believe that is the beginning. I ensure that there is justice, and let us try as much as possible and ensure that there is social justice. There is no reason to leave people to be living in this age without water. Water, for God's sake.
Well, you talked about, the subnational level, and the governor of the state, Governor Caleb Muftuang, spoke to the people shortly after that particular attack, and this was what he had to say, something to the effect about, supporting the security agencies with information. But I think we have the track on standby now.
In the meantime, I want to reassure the people of Plateau State that we are truly on top of this situation and will go to any length to be able to forestall further occurrence. At the moment, I'd like to encourage our people all over the state that please, whatever intelligence you pick up, no matter how irrelevant you think it is, please do let us know. We are ready to protect the source of our information so that no life will be in jeopardy.
How vital is this in stopping the next round of killing? Because as far as the number of people are concerned, and I'm sure from what you also know of the Plateau, unless something different is done this time around, we could see another round. So how vital is this last statement he made on giving information to helping to stop it? That's for you, Mr. Oime.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I was thinking it was addressed to my co-guest. Now, let me first look at the situation the Amnesty International described at the local government. Now, I will assure you that we are talking about an issue of 30 years beyond, 30 years beyond. Some of the people that were born when all of these things started, they are going to their 40s and 50s right now. So I think that there are committees that have been set up, investigative bodies that have been set up by the government, funded by taxpayers' money, and they have come up with resolutions, possible solutions, with evidence of perpetrators and then lines of perpetration. And there has been no implementation whatsoever. Every new government comes in their campaign stories, they tell you about government intervention, government presence, and all of that. Now, let's also go back to the paucity of developmental structures in the locality where this thing happened, and the inability, by his own assessment, of military and other intervention to move into the place. For your information, those local government allocations and projects were mentioned during elections. Where is the accountability? Because if we say we are not going to hold the federal government to ransom, we will be making a mistake, because the disbursements come from the federal government. So accountability can be requested by the federal government, expecting that these government institutions up to the local government, the councillor, can be able to answer questions when their inability to perform has led to loss of life. You can be roped into the accomplice level of murder in the court of law. So we are not implementing, we are not asking for accountability. So let me also look at the environment. I still disagree, sir. And I disagree that it is not possible to implement intervention measures. I disagree with the governor that the people should bring intelligence for the government to use to act. I disagree. Now, the government is within the people. If it is time to generate votes and to hunger the people with their 2,000 naira to make them vote for each succeeding government, we know where they are. We go to the hinterlands. We even see a candidate going to the market, drinking water from the dirty sources of water and promising them that I will make it okay. So if we want to deploy accountable intelligence gathering system as a governor, you can. You have the list of all the retired military personnel, retired police officers, and all other agencies that come from your state. You can institute them into intelligence gathering paraphernalia within your state. You also have the intelligence system of technology. There are technology that you can deploy with solar system, even if there's no electricity, that can tell you when there is mass movement of people, and you immediately find out why. For the military that you talk about, they can use area measures to drop tear gas in all of those areas and smoke bombs and smoke those people out to places where you await them and you decimate them. So I think that there are measures that have not been implemented because of this failure of the government to address perpetrators. The perpetrators are obviously within our paraphernalia at our reach, but they are also within the opportunities to compromise the effort of government.
Well, gentlemen, we are already wrapping up our conversation. Mr. Sanusi, I'm just going to ask you very quickly, what are your quick expectations from government? You've spoken about investigation. What else do you want government to do?
Well, I want government to implement a new and effective security measures to protect the people. They should fear God, because we all believe in God. They should fear God and protect these people. This carnage has to stop. This should be the end. I'm just pleading with them. They should protect the people. And another thing is that they should stop these political statements after each killing, this saying this, this saying this. Let us see a difference from now henceforth, because these killings are building up grievances, and that is how nations can fail. So we have to avoid this from happening. We have to address these grievances. The grievances are building up. Every killing in every community leaves behind a mountain of grievances, and we have to address them, because they may blow up and consume all of us.
Well, gentlemen, we have to thank you so much for coming on the program. Mr. Issa Sanusi is the country director of Amnesty International. We are also joined by Mr. Oime Okidevie. I always have a challenge pronouncing your name. Please forgive me. He's the CEO of August Eye Limited and also a security expert. Gentlemen, thank you once more for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
We'll
take a break now. When we come back, we'll be looking at another matter that just came up. Ayo will be taking you through that segment. Please stay with us.
Well, since that grievance that was talked about is already brewing in another part of the country, in Rivers State, particularly between the Rivers State government today and the Nigerian Bar Association. Joining us to discuss that this morning is Andrew Mwanta, who is a constitutional lawyer and president, African Public Interest Lawyers Union. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning.
300 million naira gift is a lot.
It's a huge largesse.
Okay. What do you make of that back and forth between the NBA and the government?
I think I will start by saying that when this whole emergency thing started, that evening, just like every other Nigerian, I heard the broadcast. And it was barely 2 or 3 hours after the broadcast, the president of the NBA came out heavily against that broadcast. And as a lawyer, I felt that was very hasty, because I know the process is two-pronged. The president makes a declaration, issues a gazette, and it is that gazette that is transmitted to the National Assembly. It was an incoherent process, as it were. The president would have waited or tarried a bit.
As the president of the NBA?
Yes, because it was later, we had a NEC meeting, I think 27th of March, where certain statements were made about the situation in Rivers, and for the conference venue to be moved from Port Harcourt to Enugu. And the question is, why Enugu? The FCT is there. So people are even reading an ethnic coloration to it. Because I'm aware the NBA president is from Anambra. And they want Anambra State having to go as its capital. He was NBA chairman of the Unity Bar as the FCT chapter. How come such split-minute decision was made during his inaugural speech on the 29th of August? He just picked Rivers. So people are now asking, why the sudden interest? Nobody knew that 300 million was involved. That's a lot of money. That's taxpayers' money. And the bar is said to be a noble profession. And I think the noble thing to do, if the government of Rivers, because it is even wrong to now say whether it's a legal or illegal government, because the matter is in court, it's sub judice. So the NBA cannot now take the role of the court to say, we don't think that government there is legal. The money belongs to the government of Cross River. It is Rivers State. It is taxpayers' money. And if the government of Rivers is asking for a refund, I think the noble and honorable thing for the NBA president and the chairman of that committee to do is to refund that money.
Don't also forget that the NBA, through its organizing chairman, has said that there should be a dichotomy between a gift and hosting fees. Well, according to the Mr. Mobile or something like that, it was saying that, look, we didn't collect hosting fees. We collected a gift. So how is that a bad thing? If you ask me, the amount we are talking about belongs to a state, and it is the taxpayers' money that I'm calling with profound respect. 300 million is not 3 million naira. We are talking of a huge chunk, and it was with an understanding that you will host your event in that city. Hoteliers will benefit. People have booked their tickets, flight tickets. People have booked hotel accommodation. And all of a sudden, because you don't like the face of the person, just to be clear, the question we're asking is, on the one hand, the Rivers State government today is asking for the refund of quote-unquote hosting fees. But the NBA is saying it is not hosting fees. I think it's just out of place. It's just legalism. Just a second. It's just legalism. Out of place for the NBA to receive a gift or for a state government to give a gift. I think it's the circumstances surrounding a gift you look at. If you have a mindset, like I give you an example, we now talk about, oh, the government there's a constitutional crisis. This crisis started before Alpha Musigwe became NBA president, right? It's the 2023 elections that, you know, just weeks or months, just few months after the 2023 election, that was when this crisis started. Remember, December 2024, right? The House of Assembly was demolished by the governor. That was an institution of government that was demolished. What did the NBA say? Before they accepted the gift in January, didn't they know that there was a crisis? Even before the hosting rights was pronounced, when it was being inaugurated on the 29th of August, was there no crisis in Rivers? I mean, yes, there was crisis in Rivers State, so that's a big question. So I think if the administrator now accuses the president or the organizers of our conference of double standard, I think it is double standards. In one breath, you accepted a gift when there was a crisis. You even talked about hosting your event when there was a crisis. In another breath, because the person who gave the gift is no longer there. I think it's a huge moral burden on the NBA. And I think the right thing to do, it's a personal opinion, is for our profession to be protected. And the only way we can protect the image of our profession is for that money to be refunded. Because the economy of that state gave out 300 million with the hope that they will benefit from the conference. Now that you are not hosting your event there, I mean, for very clearly political reasons, it is the right thing to return that money. Even if you are not returning the entire sum, at least part of it should be refunded. Because the state who gave that money gave it with the hope that you have an event, that the economy of Rivers, because the people of Rivers are not happy. There are lawyers there. There are lawyers from the Niger Delta who feel, okay, even if you are not hosting it in Rivers, don't we have other states like Cross River and the rest? So why take it to your home state, Enugu? Are you saying that, you know, I mean, the older Anambra state, Enugu. Yeah. Well, are you saying that, just a second, are you saying that, you know, the NBA, when you say it's political, are you saying the NBA is politicizing its conference? I think the NBA president, with profound respect, I have respect for him, but as I earlier noted, he was hasty in condemning the president's broadcast. Do you think, there's a connection? There is a connection, because Wike is a minister of the FCC. That's why Abuja was not in the radar, because he was NBA chairman there. And the question is, for such a short notice, is Abuja not a better venue? Why Enugu? You are from the old Anambra. Enugu was the capital of the area. You take it back home. The governor was the first person who congratulated him when he emerged as NBA president. We are aware of all these things. But the truth is, the profession must protect itself. And as the president of the African Public Interest Lawyers Union, my advice to the NBA president is that we should do some internal on some some people listening to you right now, Mr. Mwenta. There's a moral question to it. Just a second. Some people listening to you right now will say you are embittered, maybe because you didn't get part of the largesse. I will not be embittered. I'm embittered. I will not be embittered because I didn't get part of the largesse. I'll be embittered because we are in a deep crisis, because we are pointing at the pin in somebody's eyes when we have a log in ours. Because the question is, you collected 300 million naira because you wanted these people
to host your events.
But don't forget, he didn't collect the NBA.
It may not be a hosting right.
Just a second. He didn't collect the 300 million naira as president of the NBA. He collected this
on behalf
of the Nigerian Bar.
And again, the question
which represents all the lawyers,
collected that money,
which represents all the lawyers, including yourself. And it would seem like you are the only one who is offended, because I'm not sure.
Don't say I'm the only one. I've spoken to colleagues, and it is the view of most colleagues that I've spoken to that the honorable thing to do is to refund. I'll give you an example. Country A is to host World Cup for some political decision, right? You now decide to move the venue. If they have made certain commitments, the proper thing to do is to refund. Because the question is, at the time you sought their hosting status, because they are hosting events, whether I would like it or not, it is what it is. You knew there was a crisis there, you accepted it. So you cannot accept a situation and later turn around. So the House of Assembly at that time had 2.5 members. They didn't even have the House of Assembly at that time. There was serious political crisis in Rivers when the president made that statement of hosting the conference there. So he's aware.
So you're saying that there was no legislation over the gift that the governor gave?
Is what I cannot say, because if you have a House of Assembly that has 32 members, the governor has 3.5 members on the side. You have the 27 that the Supreme Court has affirmed, right? These were issues. But I noticed that the NBA president was always on the side of Fubara, because we talk about justice. Justice, as was said by a former Supreme Court judge, is a three-way traffic. Justice for the complainant, justice for the accused, and justice for the society.
When you say the president of the NBA is on the side of one person, you are essentially saying that the entire NBA is on the side of one person.
We should separate the president as an individual from the profession. So we are talking of over 100,000 lawyers
exactly here. Who do you have issues? Just a second.
Whatever he says is his own personal opinion.
Who do you have issues with here? Because whatever anyone is, that person takes into office.
With profound respect, I tell you one thing. NBA has organs. We have the neck. The neck is our decision-making body.
Okay.
Right? Because as I earlier noted, the day that broadcast was made, the NBA president was very hasty. In less than 3 hours, he issued a statement. He signed that statement. We have a publicity secretary. We have other organs. He complains that we have a sole administrator in Rivers. Is he not operating the association as a sole administrator?
But you know, it's not the first time we've seen the president of the NBA issue a statement.
Not hasty statements like that, because we have a crisis in Plateau. And then yesterday, we had 51 people who died.
Just a second.
As he issued a statement on the issue in Plateau.
On the same issue, we remember that in 2004, there was, such a situation that occurred as well. And everyone at the time also raised issues that the president shouldn't have appointed a sole administrator because it does not have any representation in the
Plateau. But the NBA was not one of those bodies, because at the time our president was the Attorney General. Bayo Ojo was the president at the time of the NBA. He became under Obasanjo Attorney General. Right? His sanction in the NBA was very silent when state of emergency was declared in Plateau in 2004. Okay. In 2006, when it was declared in Ekiti, NBA was silent. And as we speak, this matter is sub judice. So why is NBA so interested in the situation in Rivers when we have people dying in Plateau, in Benue, even in Uromi recently?
One last one very quickly, because we are running out of time. Isn't it normal for organizations to receive gifts and support from state governments? Like in the NBA. Is it the first time the NBA is receiving a gift from any state government?
No, the thing is the circumstances surrounding the gift. If a gift was given with an understanding, and I think there was no proper communication with the Rivers State government, because you deny that, these people, they don't have legitimacy in one breath. Then in another breath, you are keeping their money, return their money. The truth is, I may be a lone voice, but there's no proper way to do the wrong thing. And I think the proper thing to do to save the image of our profession is for that money to be refunded. This Rivers taxpayers' money. Well, if you are not doing business with them, return their money. You are not going to host your event. A whole lot of hoteliers will suffer from this because people are booked. People have to refund.
Just a second.
With the monies paid for hotel accommodation not refunded. So everything to be refunded. I think the NBA president should do the honorable thing. That money should be refunded.
Well, you already said that the NBA has several organs. So let's imagine that those several organs have also listened to you in part this morning. I'll be able to take a cue from it. Thank you
so
so much for your time.
I just hope they do the right thing.
Thank you so much
by
for
reforming
your time
that money. Thank you for having me.
Andrew Mwanta is a constitutional lawyer and president, African Public Interest Lawyers Union. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's the show this morning. Thank you so much for the privilege of your time. The Business Morning is next. I'm Ayo Makinde. Enjoy your day.
For watching, I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf. Well, thank you for watching. I'm Maokbe Ogun Yusuf. Have a beautiful day.